Now we're going to draw our windows. We each have unique windows, so this is why we're going to be drawing our own. It's also really good to know how to draw your own items. So I'm going to start with this window up here. Again, your window might be a completely different size than my window. So let's just start off by measuring it to tell you what the size that I'm drawing. I'm drawing a 5-foot window by a 4-foot 8-inch window. So I want to make sure that I'm drawing outside of the group. I'm not inside, so just escape, and we'll be outside of the group. I'm going to start off with getting this rectangle tool and start at one corner and bring it all the way to another corner just so we can make a surface. I'm going to grab my selection tool now, select the surface, or actually let's double click the surface. Double clicking it, there's a difference. If I just click it, it only grabs the surface. If I double click it, it'll grab all the 4 edges and the surface. I want to double click it, right click, and make this a group. I'm going to make it a group immediately because a lot of details can go into this window and I don't want it to affect any other items. So right now I can see that I had made it a group just by escape, nothing selected. I could click it and I could see that it's obviously a group. I want to double click into it, and now this is the only thing I can work with. First off, we're going to do an offset. On the surface, and we're going to offset this. Let me try it before you do it. I think it's going to be 2 inches. Yeah, so we're going to offset this 2 inches. So the offset means that if you go back and measure, it's going to be 2 inches on each side. Okay. Next, let's gonna get our line tool. We're gonna find the center. We're gonna go down. We're gonna draw a line all the way down. We're gonna find the center here. We're gonna draw a line all the way out. So we're just gonna work on making like the window mullions so we can have the glass panels. Some of these windows and doors, we're just gonna stick to drawing 4 panels per window. Now, some of these windows that we have are definitely a lot bigger. And in reality, you would not just have 4 panels. It would look kind of weird. You'd probably have 6 panels or even 8, just depending on the size. But for learning purposes, we're just gonna put 4 panels, like separated into 4 different sections on our windows, just for the purpose of this assignment and learning how to do it. So I just divided it by 4. It gave me the center points. I didn't have to do any math. And now these mullions that we're going to be drawing, the little dividers, are going to be 1 inch each. So because y'all know I don't like doing math, I click on this 1 point and I go in one direction. Oops. So I'm at this 1 point and I'm gonna go, you could either do 0.5 or you could just do like 1/2 an inch. So I'm just gonna type 1/2 inch, click, I'm gonna bring it all the way down. And on the opposite side, I'm gonna do 1/2 as well. So I'm gonna click, I'm gonna go over 1/2 of an inch and bring it all the way up. So in reality, from one end of this line to this line, we would have 1 inch, which is a total what we want. So I'm gonna go do that to the others. one half, bring it all the way to the other side, a half, bring it all the way to the other side, and we can see that that total equals 1 inch. Now I want to go delete all these extra little lines in here because we really just want this. This is what we're going to end up wanting. Okay, once you have that, we can delete each of these surfaces. So you can select it, delete it, select it, delete it, select it, delete it, select it, delete it. Let's go ahead and also delete these lines. So it's just one surface. Oops, sorry. This little line right. Oops, I came out of the group. For some reason I exited the group. I'm just going to double click back into my group. So I select the line, delete it. Select the line, delete it. Select the line, delete it. So now we can see it's just all one surface. So I'm going to rotate around here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my push and pull tool. And I'm going to pull this all the way to where, because it's just flat right here. And I'm going to pull this all the way to the edge of the wall, you see? So in reality, this should be 6 inches. Okay? Next, what I want to do is I'm going to, let's see. I don't know if I want to tell you this. Yeah. Okay, this is something that I tell you like we normally pick materials and stuff at the end, but windows are so like custom that I don't like waiting to do it at the end because there's so much detail on a window that I don't want to wait because it's going to take longer to paint later. So I'm just going to make sure I get the selection tool. Notice how I'm going to click. I still hold my mouse down and then I'm going to let it go and it's going to select everything in this group. And my group is just the window. So it's going to select everything in that group. Notice how every single thing's selected. Once it's selected, let's go to our paint bucket. I'm going to choose this color, Helen Boots. This is the color I always select. You can select whatever color you want, but let's paint it. And by selecting it all, it means that all of this will get painted. Okay, so at the end, it will look like that. Let's double click back in. Kind of get this angle. Now what we're going to do is we want to make the little glass panels. So what the glass panels are, we get this rectangle, the rectangle tool. We're going to come right here and we're going to find the midpoint. All I did was hover over it and found the midpoint. I'm going to click and now zoom out. Now I have this panel. I'm not going to place it anywhere yet, or I have the rectangle. I'm not going to place it anywhere yet. My goal is to place it like in this general area, but I need to get to that angle. So I'm going to click my orbit tool, orbit around, come back to the rectangle, and it will still be there, locked into place. And now I go hover over the middle and find the midpoint there. Okay, so notice how it did make a rectangle. That's the surface. Okay, let's go ahead and keep this surface selected. Actually, let's go ahead and double click because remember we want all 4 lines selected. Double click. All the 4 lines are selected as well as the surface. And we're going to paint this glass. Let's see. I don't know how to get to the glass. I should have found out how to do this before. Okay, so you go over here to the little search or browse button. You're going to go down to the glass and mirrors, select it, and I normally choose this gray glass, select it, and paint it. And now you can see through. I guess it's translucent glass gray. And I don't have to go back and do the other side because it's translucent, so it does both sides for me. Okay, now I have not unselected it or anything. I'm just going to get the selection tool. After I painted it, I'm going to right click and I'm going to copy. Now I'm going to kind of click out of it. Just one click. We don't want to escape the group. I'm still in my window group. Now I'm going to right click and I'm going to paste it. And you see how my move tools like at the bottom left hand corner of this rectangle here, it needs to stay there because I'm going to go place it at the midpoint of this quadrant and place it there. So the reason we're placing them in the middle is because there's some exterior room here and some room here. This isn't obviously how windows are made, but I can tell you this is the best way to make a window in SketchUp. It's the easiest, most efficient way. It will look like a real window, but just know this is not how windows are manufactured. Okay, so that's selected. I could get my selection tool, click out just once, right click, paste it. I'm going to paste it right there at that midpoint for this quadrant. And then I think I could do it again without clicking out. Yeah, so I right click, paste, find the midpoint of this quadrant, and click. Now I could just select out of the entire thing. And there's our window. So how do we know we made it in the group correctly? I could select the entire window right here. Remember, I'm not in any group. No group, nothing. I could click the walls if I wanted to click the wall. I could click the door if I wanted to click the doors, and I could click the window. Okay. The way you can see if you did this correctly is if you move it. The entire window comes out. Nothing is left behind. That is a window that is fully grouped correctly. I'm just going to click back to place it where it was before. Okay, now before I go making all these other windows, I'm going to hope that maybe my other windows are 4 feet. Okay, or wait, let me see how big this was. This one was 5 feet, so I cannot just copy it and place it there. This one's 5 feet, okay. So instead of just making that all over again, I can just, obviously it's selected, and I could right click and I could copy it. Oh, actually, before we even copy any windows, let's go ahead and select the group. Once you've known it's grouped correctly and everything's in that one group for that window, let's right click Entity Info and let's put it in its own layer or its own tag. So I'm going to exit out of the materials. Let's go ahead and add a new tag. Our tags are right here with the little tag. Add one. Let's name it Windows. Let's select our window, entity info, and it's untagged. Let's move it to the Windows. Let's see and verify that this is in the windows, I could just turn off the little eyeball and it will completely disappear. Okay, now when we copy it, then the rest of them will go under that layer as well, so we don't have to do it again. Okay, now let's select it. Let's copy it. Let's scroll over here and let's paste it. Okay, I placed it down. Obviously, this is something I'm going to have to rotate. So let's click the little move tool and then let's click the rotate tool. Let's make sure let's make sure the little thing's highlighted blue. And let's go again on the red axis. Click. Rotate to the green axis. Click. Grab our move tool. Let's grab this corner because I'm going to lock it into this corner over here. So I'm going to grab this corner and snap it into that corner right there. And now we have two windows. Okay. Perfect. 5 feet. Okay, I'm just going to paste the window. Because it needs to go into this corner, I'm going to grab this corner and snap it into place. That one's already bigger, I can tell. Let's see. 4 feet. 6 feet. 6 feet 6 inches. 4 feet. Okay, so I need to make a couple more windows. So let's go ahead and redo it. Let's start with another window. So again, I grab that rectangle tool. Click that corner. Click the opposite corner. Okay, so I made the surface and now I want to double click because I want all my sides selected as well as the surface. Right click, make group. Now I can double click into this and I could work on making the window without having anything else affected in my drawing. So we're going to offset this one. The offset, we offset 2 inches. I now find the center and the midpoint, draw the line, hover over, find the midpoint, draw the line all the way over. Now I zoom in. I'm going to go 1/2 inch on each side, or 0.5, doesn't matter how you do it. And I'm going to take that line all the way down. Make sure you stay on that blue axis. Now I'm going to do it on the other side, 1/2 inch over. Take the line all the way down, stay on that blue axis. There you go. Now I'm going to do it for this line as well. 1/2 inch all the way over. Stay on the red axis. And all the way over, 1/2 inch on that red axis. Now get the selection tool and you're going to go delete all these little lines because we only want the new lines that we made. Control Z to go back. And remember, I did eventually delete these, so let's just delete them right now. Nope. This one, no. This one, delete. This little line, delete. This little line, delete. And I'm just clicking delete on my keyboard. Okay, now we want to delete these little surfaces. delete, 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 delete. Now let's rotate inside. Let's grab our push and pull tool. Make sure the entire surface gets selected, and let's pull that out up into the wall. So again, that is going to be, should be 6 inches. 6 inches, okay. Before we go and add the glass and stuff, we do want to make sure everything's selected by grabbing the selection tool, clicking, hold it down, let go, and make sure everything's selected on that window because we are going to paint it. So I go to the paint bucket. Wonder what the home is, yeah. So I went back to the home and I remembered that I painted it this Helen Boots color. So I'm going to select it again and paint it. Okay. Now let's kind of rotate back in here. Okay. Now what I want to do is make that panel. So I'm just going to escape out of that. And remember, I'm still making the panel inside of that window layer or window tag. I'm going to grab the rectangle, find the midpoint, click, find the midpoint to the opposite corner, and notice how it's highlighting green. Click, and now we have our glass panel. So I'm going to grab my selection tool, click it, double click it because we want all those corners. And now I want to paint that, and I'm going to paint it this, this translucent glass. I believe now that I used it once, it is showing up in my home little bar of the materials. But if I did want to go look for it again, it would be under this browse, under glass and mirrors, and here it is. Just gonna paint it, and it should look like that on both sides. Good. Now I'm just going to right click, and I want to copy what is selected. Okay. Oops. Okay, it accidentally came out of the group, so let me go ahead and double click back in. There we go. And now I'm gonna paste that glass panel. So I right click, paste. It grabbed it from this corner, from the bottom right hand corner. So now I'm definitely gonna go look for the bottom right hand corner to place it. Remember, you could, if you can't see it and it's not like working with your angles, you can still, I'm literally not clicking anything. I'm just gonna go over here and click orbit. Gonna orbit to the angle that I want. Go back to this rectangle. Oops. Okay, I guess it won't work like that. But I can just paste it again. Okay, there you are. Hover over the midpoint, click, and leave it there. Right click, paste. Hover over that midpoint, click, and it's there. Right click, paste. Hover over the midpoint. Click, and there we go. Now click out of the window. This is still grouped. I'm going to test it to make sure everything that I just drew is in that one group. So I'm going to move it. Everything moved with it. Click the little back button. It's back in its place. Okay. Now remember, we're going to tag it in the window group. Right now, it's currently, what I have selected is that window. Currently, it's untagged. So I'm going to click it and move to the windows. Now I can go down here, top little eyeball, and I did place it in the correct group. Okay, now I'm going to select the entire window, right click, copy. Copied it because I know that this one was 4 feet and I don't want to make it again. So I'm just going to right click, paste it. Notice how it's selected in the bottom left-hand corner. So I'm going to snap it into the bottom left-hand corner of that one. And there's our window. Now to my last two windows, 6 foot 6 inches and 6 foot. Okay, we're gonna start this window now. Rectangle, click the opposite side. It's a surface, double click, right click, make group, double click into the group, offset, offset 2 inches, pencil, find the center, all the way down, find the center, all the way over, distance of 1/2 inch, green axis, distance of 1/2 inch, green axis, 1/2 inch, blue axis, 1/2 inch, blue axis. Select, delete all these little lines inside. Delete these lines. Delete the surfaces. Orbit around. Push and pull. Pull up with the edge of the wall. Remember, this is an interior wall, so it's going to only go out 4 inches. The other window was 6 inches. We'll go fix that in a bit. Okay. 4 inches. Selection tool. Select it all. Paint it. Helen Boots, or whatever color you're doing. Make the glass panel. Rectangle tool. Find the midpoint. Select. Orbit to get a better angle. Rectangle. Midpoint. Double click, paint it, the glass. Now I can copy it. Now I'm going to paste it, find the midpoint, paste, paste, find the midpoint, click, paste, find the midpoint, click. Done. Let me test it to make sure I made it all in the correct group. I did. Click back. Click the window. Remember, we need to tag it. It's the only thing selected, so this is the only thing I'm re-tagging, and I'm tagging it as a window. You can go test it out yourself. Click the eyeball. Perfect. Oh, there you go. Now let's go fix this because look, I pasted it and it's extending out. So it's a simple fix. I'm just going to double click it so I can edit this specific window. And look how it's the only thing selected. So it's the only thing I'm editing. I'm just going to select the surface, this front surface, grab the push and pull tool. I'm just going to push it to where it lines up with the wall. Select out of it. Perfect. No one will ever know. Okay, moving on to this window. Rectangle on one corner to the other. It's a surface. Double click. Right click. Make group. Double click into the group. Offset 2 inches. Find the centers. If you know a better way to do that, I would like to know, but if it includes math, I think I would just prefer this way, honestly. Half blue axis, half an inch, blue axis, half an inch, red axis, half an inch, red axis. Delete all these lines. Oops, Control Z, back. Delete these little lines. Orbit around, push and pull. Select the surface, pull it out. It's going to be 6 inches. Oops, I forgot to delete the surfaces over there. It's okay. Just select them and delete them. Okay, good. Now let's select everything. Click, hold, let go. It's the only thing selected. Paint it. The Helen boots, or whatever you're painting it. Now I'm going to grab the rectangle tool, find this midpoint, orbit to get this better angle, rectangle, midpoint, done. Okay. Now let's double click, paint it with this glass color I've been using. Right click, copy, right click, paste. Okay, it's the bottom right. Find that midpoint, paste it. I don't know how it like picks different points. If you see the trend and know why it does that, let me know. Right click, let's paste it again. In the midpoint, right click, paste, and in that midpoint. There we go. Now let's see if this stayed a group. I'm going to test it. Perfect. Back. Stay there. Okay, it's the only thing I have selected. It's untagged. I'm going to move it to the Windows group. Now, let's click our little eyeball. I don't know why I keep doing that. Like, place the little eyeball back on, and it's in the correct group. And that's how we do windows.